All right, and now we're back for skills and support with Sarah. So she's going to talk about gratitude, a really important thing for us to be thinking about, especially at this time. So take it away.
Thanks. So yeah, like Alex said, I think I picked gratitude to talk about today because of the fact that there's so much, difficulty and negative things that, are kind of made prominent in the news right now and just on our social media. And there's a lot of stuff going around that could kind of tend to get us down. And so right now, but really any time in our lives, gratitude can be so helpful to help us feel a little bit more positive, especially when, things might be feeling kind of down once in a while. So my goal of talking about gratitude today is just to remind everybody about the importance of some balance between, being aware and thoughtful about some of the difficulty that does exist right now in the world and in our personal lives. But not the purpose of me talking about this is not to say that we need to always have a positive attitude about everything or that we need to say that everything's perfect all the time, because that's not always the case, and we need to be truthful with ourselves and healthy with our emotions. And so it is very normal in a human experience to have some difficult emotions as well. So I wanted to talk about some of the benefits of practicing gratitude, because there are a lot that have been studied, and there's a lot of great research findings on what practicing gratitude regularly can do for us. So one of the major things is just increasing our happiness levels and decreasing depressive symptoms. And so gratitude can be a thing that's helpful to practice when we are down, but it also can be a great preventative strategy to keep our moods from going down when we are feeling like we're in a good place. And the idea of practicing gratitude is just to be appreciative of even some of the really small things in life that we might not normally notice or we might take for granted in some ways. So I'll go into some specific examples of some of the things that we can kind of look out for and remind ourselves of. But when we're able to focus on some more positive thoughts, it can help us to feel a little bit better because our thoughts and feelings are so closely connected. Gratitude can also help us to improve our relationships and connection with others, because when we're able to share with another person that we feel appreciative of them and the relationship that we have with them, it helps us to have a stronger connection and to open up some communication with each other, to feel a little bit maybe more vulnerable and okay with that in the relationship. And that can go for family relationships, friendships, a lot of different kinds of relationships. It can increase empathy and decrease aggression. And it also actually improves self-esteem, which I think is really cool and something we might not normally think about. So especially for teenagers, older kids and teens, this can be a really helpful effect of gratitude, because it's a really common thing to struggle with when we're growing up in our teenage years. And so the way that it works is just that when we feel like we can appreciate another person's accomplishment, rather than feeling like we are comparing ourselves to them or thinking about what we don't have that person does have, that attitude of gratitude can help us just to feel positive about what somebody else has done, rather than relating it to what we might be missing out on. And then lastly, gratitude increases resilience and the ability to heal from a traumatic experience. And so this is obviously really, important and helpful for the work that we do at Small Talk. And the way that this works is just when we are able to focus on some of the things that we still do have in our life and what is going well, even if it's a really small thing, it can help us to feel like there is some good in the world, even when we are in the worst of times, experiencing a trauma. So knowing all of that, knowing the really great effects that gratitude can have, how can we practice it regularly? And one of the things I just kind of wanted to emphasize is that just like any habit or skill, practicing it and doing that consistently is really important to be able to develop it well and use it in the most effective way. So I have some examples of just some pretty simple activities that you could do with your family or your children or teenagers could do. And I'm excited to share them with you. So I'll share my screen. Okay. So gratitude is something that younger kids might kind of have a hard time grasping, and that's okay. We don't necessarily need them to completely understand the effects of gratitude, because that's a hard one to understand when you maybe aren't at your peak emotional maturity yet. But I do have some fun activities that kids can get started on just practicing, and it's okay if they don't fully understand the concept yet. But for older kids and teens, they totally can grasp this. And so I have a variety of activities that can be used for a number of different age ranges. And the first one I have here is just a picture of what's called a gratitude tree. And so I think this is a really simple thing that can be done as a family activity. And to make this, you could start by just going on a little walk outside, maybe when it's a nice sunny day, and everyone could kind of gather up like a small stick or a really little branch, and nothing big, you don't have to cut down a tree, but it's just big enough to be able to fit into like a mason jar or a little vase that you're comfortable having inside. So go on a nature walk, and while you're out on the walk, just notice some of the things in nature that you might not normally pay attention to. Notice some of the really beautiful colors that you can see, and think about like all the animals that are out in nature and the things that you might not normally notice. And that's a good way to practice gratitude while you're getting ready to make your gratitude tree. And then when you come back in with your branches, you can even gather up some like pebbles or rocks to put into the bottom of your vase or your jar. Then what you're going to do is just get some green construction paper and cut it out into little leaf shapes. And all you need is some twine or ribbon or string to be able to hole punch the leaves and then tie them onto your branches. And you could come together as a family maybe once a week or even once a day if you're feeling ambitious, and everyone can write on each leaf something they feel grateful for. So again, this can be a really small thing. It doesn't have to be a life-changing, thing that makes this huge positive impact on you, but it could be something as simple as, petting my dog today, or being able to go outside in the sunshine, something that we might not normally think of all the time. So the instructions for the gratitude tree are up on our website, and we are really excited to see what you guys make as a family. I think that could be really cool. So for older kids or teens who might not feel like a gratitude tree is for them, I have kind of a more simple idea that can be done as a family, which is called a gratitude jar. So the idea is really similar, where you kind of just keep track of things that you're grateful for and write them on a slip of paper and then just put it in the jar. And something that I think is great about having a collection of the things that you're grateful for is that you can come back and reflect on it. So during times when, again, like if you might be feeling down or you're noticing kind of some difficult, like negative energy, maybe in your family or just within certain individuals in your family, coming together maybe like once a week to open up the gratitude jar and just read through together all the things that your family members are grateful for can be a really, really good reminder that there are positive things going on right now. So if you need some help coming up with some ideas, there are some prompts for some of these slips of paper that are included with the instructions on our website for a gratitude jar. So you can either just have blank pieces of paper, or you can have specific prompts on the paper if that might be more helpful for you or your children. And the last thing I wanted to share is a gratitude journal that I put together for you all. And so this is a way to just kind of keep your family practicing gratitude consistently, but there are some fun activities included in it too, so it can kind of make it a little bit enjoyable. And so this is up on our website, so I'm not going to go through it all right now, but one thing I wanted to point out is a gratitude scavenger hunt. And so this is not only a way to keep your kids occupied or have like a fun new family activity to do together, but it's a way, again, to notice some of the small things that we might not normally pay attention to that make a positive impact on our lives. So, for example, pointing out something that smells great is, something really simple, and can be a fun way to just kind of come together as a family and do an activity like this. So the lines are there to just kind of fill in the scavenger hunt, like what you find, but this could be done so many times. Like there is not one answer to everything, so it could be done over and over again whenever you guys need a reminder. So that is also up on our website. And if you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to us. But we're so excited to see what kinds of things you come up with as a family. And please feel free to share with us like your pictures of your gratitude tree, or if you make a really cool gratitude jar, we love to see it. So you could share it in the comments of our Facebook page.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I think there are so many cool ideas in there. I love the gratitude tree idea. Just because, I mean, we go for walks all the time, especially now. And, my daughter's always we're not really walking because she stops to pick up sticks and rocks. So it's like, and then she wants to bring them home. So I'm like, this is the perfect marriage of like, we can make our walk functional now, which I think is really cool. And I just love the idea of sitting down and doing that as a family. And I love the scavenger hunt idea also. I mean, you had me at scavenger hunt. I think that's great. And I think the really cool part too is it kind of ties into some of the stuff that you talked about a few weeks ago on our show, where it is kind of tapping into some of that mindfulness stuff too. And you can marry the mindfulness and the gratitude, for like a super powerful coping skill, which I think is really, really cool way to bring those two things together.
Yeah, thanks. I think especially when we notice some things that we don't normally pay attention to, that is a really great way to practice mindfulness and help us to feel grounded and present in the moment. So yeah, that's a good reminder, Alex.
Yeah, that's great.
I also really think that that's a great way to, again, have connections with family and friends that we're not able to see right now, because, just because we can't all be together right now doesn't mean you can't be grateful for those relationships. So being able to have those connections and, going through and doing a scavenger hunt over a video chat with family to make sure that they know that you're grateful for them and vice versa. And I think that's another great way to just kind of expand the connections that feel like we're far apart right now, but I think it's a really great way to make it so it feels like we're a little bit closer to.
Yeah, great idea.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, Sarah. So when you see us again, we will be, you'll see Tess with her segment, and then you'll see us with our special guest this week. So we'll see you in a minute.